Okay, I welcome you all to today, the 14th session of PMP exam prep course. Till yesterday, we covered the brief introduction about the organizational project management, which I said includes the portfolio management, program management, and the project management. I said I will let you know how they are linked together. As you would remember, we said portfolio looks after all the projects and programs within an organization from the point of view of the prioritization of the projects and programs, whether they are feasible, which is more important, and then providing them the resources according to their prioritization, according to the preference that project or program may have. So all the projects and programs within an organization actually are governed by portfolio from this very perspective. For feasibility, for prioritization, for resource sharing, and all these three jobs are done in accordance with the organizational strategy. So portfolio is the highest level of organizational project management, and this has its own responsibilities. Although a portfolio does not micromanage the programs and the projects, but it does provide some strategic level guidance. Rather, it has executive powers to even terminate a project or a program, or even introduce a new project or program into the portfolio. In a portfolio, the projects and programs which exist do not have to be related to each other. They may be diverse projects and programs. They may not be related to each other. They may or may not be related. Now, a portfolio can be further subdivided into sub-portfolios or lower level portfolios. Like all the projects and programs in your organization are your organizational portfolio, organizational project portfolio. If you want to segregate different kinds of projects, like maybe you say all the IT projects to be treated as a separate portfolio, all the construction projects to be treated as a separate portfolio, all the mechanical projects and programs be treated as a separate portfolio. So that would be three different lower level portfolios or sub-portfolios under the overall organizational portfolio. So yes, there could be high level portfolio and low level portfolio. There could be only one portfolio in an organization. Generally speaking, in every organization which is running projects and programs, at least they have got one portfolio, and that is the top level portfolio. But if organization is too big, too large, too complex, then probably they might have need for separate sub-portfolios to deal with separate industries, or maybe separate disciplines, or maybe separate geographic locations. Maybe in an organization we have got a northern portfolio and a southern portfolio. So northern portfolio will deal with all the programs and projects in the north, and southern portfolio will deal with all the programs and projects in the south. So it could be classified in any way. But this classification does not show any relationship except for they are belonging to this specific category of south or north. of IT or construction. So these are just categories. These are not relationships. So the projects and programs within our portfolio may or may not be related. So as I said, a portfolio, top level portfolio may have subordinate portfolios, and it may also have projects and programs. Now when I say projects and programs, that does not mean that I am talking about the projects within those programs. I am talking about independent projects directly answerable to the portfolio. These are the projects. And what about programs? Programs have their own projects. Every program has its own projects. Those projects are answerable to the program. But this program comes under the portfolio. As far as the program is concerned, naturally we understand that every program is made up of a number of projects. But sometimes even programs are so complex that they have to be divided into sub-programs. In that way, every sub-program would have its own projects, and that sub-program would be answerable to the main program, higher level program, and that higher level program would be linked to the portfolio. So in that case, when we have got sub-programs, we have got lower level programs, then there are projects in those programs as well. So projects could exist in the higher level program. They can also exist in the lower level program. But overall program is looking after all the components, which could be sub-programs, which could be projects, or which could be other work. Same is the story with a lower level portfolio, that is a sub-portfolio. A sub-portfolio can have programs and projects. Every program could be having sub-programs and then projects or otherwise. So this all is put together. This is the overall interaction of portfolios, programs, and projects. Okay, do you have any questions about till now? Did you understand this framework? We do not have Rijot so far. So Sarfraz is here, Rizwan is here, Mohsin and Asad, right? Rizwan says okay, Mohsin says okay, fine. Everybody else, it's fine? Should I move ahead? Right. Okay, let's talk about the portfolio first. Naturally, so far whatever I have said, it would have given you a fair idea what a portfolio is and what portfolio does. By definition, a portfolio is a collection of projects or programs and other work. You see, projects, programs, and some other work. Now, let me talk about this other work. What is this other work? You understand there would be independent projects in a portfolio which are not part of any program. You understand there would be programs under the portfolio which would have its own projects. But how would portfolio function? What are the resources of portfolio? How would it coordinate with these projects and programs? There has to be some administrative structure. There is some work to be done in the portfolio, and portfolio is not an operation. Portfolio in itself is a structure, and it just cannot have the projects and programs. It has to have some administrative structure which will actually do some work to put it all together. So that is called the other work. That is the administration of the portfolio. There are certain people in portfolio which are responsible for coordinating with these projects and programs. They have certain duties. They have certain work to do. This is the other work. This serves as a glue between the projects and programs within the portfolio. So the projects, programs, and other work are grouped together to facilitate effective management of that work to meet strategic business objectives. Now, portfolio's work is the objective which is aligned with the organizational objective. What is the work of the portfolio? Portfolio is supposed to be providing financial advice to the strategic management. The investments they are making in projects and programs, are these investments justified? Should there be any change in the balance of this adjustment, these investments? If a project is not yielding the results as it should have from the investment point of view, then probably that project may be terminated. If there is a hope that a new project can be very useful financially for the organization, that project or program could be introduced or started. All these decisions is the work of portfolio. Portfolio actually is responsible for all financial and investment decision making regarding projects and programs. This is the work of portfolio. The projects or programs in the portfolio, as I said, may not be necessarily be interdependent or directly related. They may or may not have any relationship amongst the projects and programs within the portfolio, but that is not a requirement. But you remember, I said in a program, all the projects within a program have to be related. In portfolio, this is not the condition. So what we understand now from the portfolio is responsible for investment decision making for the projects and programs to satisfy the organizational strategy. If something is not serving the purposes of the organizational strategy, if something is not financially feasible for the organization, some project or program, that the decision of the fate of that project or program can be made by the portfolio, naturally with the permission of the executive, organizational executives. But at the same time, portfolio also can bring in new projects or programs which are found feasible. So portfolio is doing what? It is also looking at the feasibility, business cases of the new projects and programs. All the feasible projects and programs, it is prioritizing them, which is more important to the organization, which is more financially feasible for the organization. And then it is providing them resources according to that prioritization. A project which is on lower priority may not get a certain resource which is also required by a high priority project. So portfolio is looking after all these decisions. But at the same time, although it looks like portfolio is the parent of projects and programs, but it is not directly interfering into the daily working of projects and programs. It may order a program or a project to be terminated, and this is an executive decision. But portfolio is not trying to manage the programs or projects by itself. It does not micromanage. Rather, it does not take any interest in what is happening in the projects and programs. They have to have their own managers and their own sponsors. And projects and programs will deal with their own business. It is only a body which is keeping an eye if a project or program falls below the prioritization level. If it is no more feasible, then it takes action. As we already understood the strategic alignment in the earlier slides, we said portfolio management aligns with the organizational strategy by selecting the right programs or projects. That is the feasibility of the projects and programs. They must be feasible. Prioritizing that work and providing them the needed resources. This is what it is. This is what a portfolio is. Okay, if you understand what a portfolio is, let me, you know, uh, see who has a question.
Excuse me, sir. I have a question, sir.
Right. Yes, please.
This is most. Uh, Sir, I just wanted to ask, as the portfolio is, taking care of the feasibility of projects and everything, is it taking part or like taking any output from, for example, monitoring and control of a project? Like, how does it manage? For example, they have created a like feasibility and project has started. How do they track, like, I mean, if it's going fine or if it needs to be amended or if it needs to be canceled?
Okay. You see, as I said, it does not micromanage, but naturally, it needs to have certain information based on which it should decide whether some project or program is, from the financial point of view, is it doing well or not. So, without interfering into the working of the projects and programs, it must develop some kind of KPIs, the financial KPIs, and it should monitor those. So as far as the monitoring and control is concerned, yes, some kind of monitoring and control is there in portfolio management, and that is at a very high level, and that is looking at certain KPIs, and that is watching all the projects and programs for those and collecting that data from there. But it is not mandatory on all the projects and programs to report to it. The project and progress reports may not be reported to it, and portfolio may ask certain details. It may not need to have all the progress report. It may ask for certain questions or certain queries which would determine whether a certain financial KPI has been met or not. Based on that, portfolio makes its decisions. But because portfolio is a senior body, it can ask anything from any project or program. But as I said before, portfolio management makes it a business not to interfere unnecessarily into the business of projects and programs. Did I answer your question? Yes, Mohsin?
Yes, sir. Thank you. I got it. Thank you.
Okay. Now talking about the portfolio management, um, naturally it is a management of the portfolio, and you understand, let us talk about only one portfolio in the organization. There is only one portfolio in the organization, and all the projects and programs are working under it. So this is kind of a centralized management. And it could have, this could be only one portfolio, or it could have more than one portfolio. If there are more than one portfolios, then all those portfolios are answering to the main portfolio. Again, it is a centralized management. So whatever the case is, whether you have one portfolio or you have sub portfolios under the main portfolio, in both the cases, it is centralized management, and it includes identifying, prioritizing, managing and controlling projects, programs and other work. Now, I would like to highlight here the managing and controlling, the words written here, does not mean the physical management and control of every project and program. If you can just put a bracket before project and after related work, it means the overall managing and control of all the project programs and other related work. It is not precisely talking about a specific project, a specific program, but overall control. And this overall control can be achieved by monitoring certain financial KPIs. And what is the purpose of that? It is to achieve specific strategic business objectives. And what are those specific strategic business objectives? This is, as I said, investment decision-making decisions. So investment decision-making is to be done based on the data our portfolio provides. So this is only interested to that much. But it is a very executive level job. Portfolio is a very high level job. So portfolios normally exist immediately under the strategic management or the top level management. So it is back to back connected with the strategic management and it answers and advises directly to the strategic management. Portfolio management focuses on ensuring that the projects and programs are reviewed to prioritize resource allocations. You remember, it was the duty of portfolio to ensure that the needed resources are allocated to the prioritized projects. So if there is a strategic resource which is limited and it cannot be provided to all the projects at the same time, then it should be provided to the that project or program which is highest on priority, and that the management portfolio is consistent with and aligned to the organizational strategy. The portfolio should not have its own governance mechanism which is not in alignment with the organization itself. It has to work strictly under the organizational strategic goals. So portfolio will be under the strategic strategies, organizational strategies, and it will have its own governance structure under it exactly in accordance with the organizational governance structure. We'll talk more about the governance structures later, but generally speaking, you do understand what I'm saying. So this was the definition of the portfolio management. Now let's move on. What are the goals of the portfolio? As you can understand, the purpose or the goals of the portfolio is to maximize the value of the portfolio. It should be the most profitable portfolio by a careful examination of its components. And what are those constituent components? These are the projects, programs, and other related work. All what is happening under the portfolio, it should be so well organized, so well optimized that it should maximize the value in financial terms. It should be profitable to the organization. It should be in alignment with the strategic goals. And to do that, it should do this maximization by inclusion in the portfolio or exclusion of projects or programs from the portfolio of those projects, exclusion of those projects which are not contributing well towards the organizational strategy, strategic objectives. Organizational strategy, portfolio strategy comes under the organizational strategy. So portfolio has its own target set. So if some project or program is not meeting those targets and it is not coming to the mark, it may be decided to exclude or terminate that project. And maybe a new project or program may be considered for inclusion into the portfolio because it looks very promising. Organization's strategic plan becomes primary factor guiding these investments into the project. So we always have to take guidance from the strategic plan of the organization, and we are working under that. Moreover, there is one more thing to be noted, that because this is a very high level portfolio management, it is directly linked with the strategic management. Therefore, very senior people are to man this portfolio management. You can't have inexperienced fresh graduates working in portfolio management. Senior managers or senior management teams typically take on the responsibility of portfolio management for an organization. And naturally, the people who are, orchestrating all the projects and programs must be, knowledgeable about programs and projects as well. Although there is a knowledge base for portfolios, they must have portfolio knowledge, but they must also have the knowledge about the programs and projects as if they can, well address it. So generally, the people sitting in portfolio management would have been promoted from the project level to program level, and then ultimately to the portfolio level. That is the program. So far, okay? Yeah, any queries, any questions? Asad says okay, Sarfraz says okay. Right then. Moving on to the program. Again, you would remember, as I was describing the program yesterday, program is nothing if it does not have projects included in it. A program cannot exist without constituent projects. So, a program is a group of related projects. Related projects, remember, they have to have some interrelationship and coordination. They could not be separate projects with separate objectives with no relationship with each other. You can't group certain projects together and start calling them program. Program has to have the projects which are interrelated and they're serving ultimately the same purpose for which the program has been created. So they have to be related projects and they have to be managed in a coordinated way. Why? To obtain certain benefits. Program delivers benefits. It does not deliver deliverables. It does not deliver the product. If you're constructing a bridge or constructing a house, then you are not doing a program. Because a house is a product. A bridge is a product. If you create a system, the system is a product. Service is a product. So all those are done through projects. Then what is a benefit? You have to look at a bit more deeply. When you construct a house, what is the benefit of constructing the house? Anybody who can help me on that? What is the benefit of constructing the house? Anyone?
Living, sir.
Living? Any
Yes.
other ideas?
People can live in it.
Jay? To live in it. Okay. Think some long-term benefits. Living is okay. What else? Go beyond living.
So, future security, like for the future generations, and even financial security, like from the financial point of view.
Wonderful, wonderful. You are going well. What else? Your quality of life will be improved. Naturally, you will have security. And
Yes, sir, for sure.
right. So you see, construction of house, the project of construction of house is finished when the house is completed, but it starts yielding benefits. And as you said, some benefits like living is an immediate benefit. Some benefits are long-term benefits. So programs look at the benefits. They are designed around the benefits. They are not designed around the construction of house. You don't want to, you know, design benefits out of the product. We want to design products out of the benefits. Okay, if I say, what do you want to do? You say, I want to improve my quality of life. This is the ultimate benefit you want to get yielded. Okay, how would you plan to do it? Construction of a house could be one of the constituent projects which will ultimately help in the achievement of the benefit of better quality of life. But there could be many other projects like getting better education, getting more money and things like that. So you would work towards all those deliverables and ultimately in a specific period of time you want certain benefits to be yielded. This is then a program. Any sense made? Yes, please.
Sir, there is one like comment or question.
Sure.
For example, the portfolio management is responsible for like strategic and the future planning and looking for the projects which are beneficial for the organization.
Investment decision making. Investment.
But sir, obviously,
Yep.
but sir, that would be a benefit for sure in the for the future, right?
Which one? Portfolio is, you mean portfolio is delivering
Yeah,
benefits?
yeah. I'm just saying, like, I mean, portfolio management is doing the same thing for the organization. Like, if it's doing a project, obviously, it's
Higher,
doing for the
very,
benefit of.
at an extremely higher level. At a strategic level, it is accumulating all the benefits and yielding the financial result to the organization. Yes, I tend to agree with you. But it is doing that with the help of programs.
Okay.
Actually, the realization of benefit is the responsibility of the program. And what is the responsibility of the project? Project delivers products, services, or results. I hope we are making sense.
Okay. One more thing, sir.
Yep.
Uh, Single project can be beneficial as well, but according to this definition, eh, program is only associated for the like related to the group of projects
Okay.
which are interrelated. Like, I
Right.
mean, if a project is not interrelated, it can be beneficial as well. So what about that?
I don't agree with that. You see, we just took the example of construction of a house. And I said, what are the long-term benefits? You said this, and ultimately the quality of life, ultimately the future. So, will your future be secured just by the construction of the house? Look back. Look back from that point on. Will your future be secure only by construction of house, or there are certain other elements to be fulfilled as well?
Okay, sir.
Yes. So actually, if you
Yes.
look, if you take the target of securing your future, make that the benefit, and there could be more than one project which will have to be done to achieve that benefit. But I do agree that every project will yield some benefits, and those benefits will be cumulative, will be, you know, put together, and ultimately they would be yielding the larger good. So, but as far as the project is concerned, project is not responsible for the delivery of benefits. It is designed to deliver benefits, but project manager is not supposed to deliver those benefits. He is just supposed to deliver the product. If I'm a contractor and I'm constructing a house for you, I will construct the house according to your desires, according to your drawing, according to whatever your future objectives are. But once I hand it over to you when it is constructed, then I am no more responsible. I don't know how you use it, whether you get those benefits in long term or not. That is not my business. So project works only till the delivery of the benefit. Sorry, delivery of the product. The realization of benefit may come later, many years later than the project is finished. G, are you okay with it?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Thank you.
Okay. So programs may include elements of related work outside of the scope of discrete projects in the program. Now this is interesting. It says program may include elements of related work outside the scope of discrete projects. You identified three projects which could, you know, improve your quality of life. Now, these three projects will yield some product and those will give some immediate benefits. But who is going to unify the results of those benefits and turn them into long-term benefits. So program has got some other work, some administrative work to put it all together, which is not the responsibility of any of the projects. Unifying the results of all the projects and consolidating them in the form of the desired benefit. This will not be done by any project. This will be done by program, and that is the related other work. As we had other work in program to unifying all the project and program unification, here for program, in addition to all the projects delivering their deliverables, we have some other work, some other related work, which is responsible for putting it all together. So when we say program components, that means all the projects, all the subprograms, and such related work. These all are program components. Are we okay with so much?
Sir, one thing, like if we take one example, like if a company, like a big company, which is going to construct a housing society.
Mhm.
So, like for example, like one project team is building the roads, one team is building uh, like sewage system and water system, and one is building houses.
Okay.
So how do we categorize it? Like the whole housing society is going to be one project, or is it going to come under like portfolio management, and then all the projects inside it are going to be like maintained by the program management?
Okay, tell me, is a housing society a benefit or a product?
Uh, I guess it's a product.
So it is a project.
No, but sir, from the company's point of view, it would be a benefit, no?
Of course, if you are looking at from that angle, then you should design it as a program. Then you should not say that we are constructing, we are developing a housing society. First identify the benefit, and then let the program manager design whatever he wants. He may come up with the idea of a housing society or something else. So you start from the benefit backward, then it is a program. But if you are specifying that a housing society is to be made, then you have specified the project.
So
Now,
it's not possible. It's not possible to like divide like housing society into different projects and manage them through program,
no, no, no,
because the goal would be same, like,
no, no, no.
and they all the projects are interrelated.
Okay, okay. So what you are talking about is now. First of all, do you agree with me that housing society is not a program; it is a project? You agree?
Yes, sir, I think so.
Okay. If this is a complex project, right? This might be a mega,
Yes.
right? Now, this huge project or mega project or big project cannot be managed easily. Therefore, for your convenience, you have divided this project into smaller parts. You say, okay, this is the plumbing system, this is whatever, the roads and whatever, and landscaping and whatever. So you have divided the project into smaller parts. So these are then sub-projects. A project having sub-projects can be interrelated, but then they are not delivering the benefit. It is not the responsibility of the housing society to deliver the benefit. If you are talking about delivery of benefit, then you have to start from the benefit backwards. You cannot start from the housing society. It is simple breakup. If you are breaking up a project into smaller parts, then it is the divisions of the project, not of a program. But I do agree, I understand the confusion you are in. Actually, the thing we normally call a project could be turned into a program. It is just by looking at it from a higher perspective. Even if I'm constructing a house, I can say, let's first define a benefit which can only encompass all the workings of the construction of the house, right? So if my immediate benefit is to provide a living space for myself within next 5 years, you understand my point? Within next 5 years, I want to have my own living space available to me. So now all the efforts to be done towards that, out of which the construction could be a part of the whole effort, earning money and putting this and that, all these things would be contributing towards the achievement of that benefit. And therefore, construction can be part of it. And even construction can further be broken down into projects. And therefore, whole of this could be treated as a program. But program is more viable, more better used when it is directly related with some organizational objective. For example, our country, it at the highest strategic level, they decide that we have to improve the education level of this country from X level to Y level in next 5 years. Now they want to have this benefit in next 5 years. How would they do it? So they will not tell someone to construct a school or a university. They will depute the responsibilities to the provinces that you achieve this target in your province. So there will be 5 different programs and every province will be, planning for themselves. They will create their own strategy for doing that. And under that strategy, there could be projects, there could be sub-program, there could be anything under that. So this is how the program will yield the results. Okay, ji. A project may or may not be part of a program, but a program will always have projects. This thing I have said before also. I said projects could exist independently without being part of a program. But a program could not exist if it does not have projects. It should have at least more than one project, not one. A single project is not enough for a program. Please put off the mics, please. Okay. Ramzan, it was your mic which was creating trouble. You wanted to say something, Ramzan?
Yes, sir. Actually, I want to know, you have given an example of school, the improving this education level in next 5 years.
Right.
So, we have taken this example as we have subdivided into, we have called it as a program, and we have subdivided it into 5 different sub-programs, you can say, and then they will have their own project.
Right.
How can we relate this? Can we relate this example to portfolio management? Can we call it a portfolio also?
Okay.
Or no?
Okay. Let us again look at the example of a government. A government has various, has various. One national objective is there, right? And to meet that national objective, they have to create certain strategies. Those strategies they create could be in different areas, in an area of manufacturing, an area of education, an area of this. So they would create various strategies for basic strategies for each one of these areas, and they could create a chain of programs under each one of those. So the example which we do, we said we have to raise the education level to a specific level in next 5 years. So somebody can divide this program into, say, 4 different sub-programs. One is for adult education, one may be for the primary education, one may be for the secondary education, higher education, and so on and so forth, a professional education. So they could categorize that. So each one of those programs would then be contributing to the overall goal by achieving whatever targets they set for themselves. So a primary education program could be constructing schools, spreading awareness, and train the trainer courses and all that. These will be the projects under it. Similarly, so this is going to be spreading out. This is a better way of translating the strategy down to the project level. Through programs and portfolios, we are actually providing a funnel from the strategy, top level strategy, down to the project level. And that would actually yield results. If you are doing ad hoc projects all the time, then you have to justify each and every project that it is linked with that strategy of the organization, and that's why we are doing it. But if you are doing it in this proper fashion, then everything is very well organized. Portfolio is always aware of what is happening and how beneficial it is to the overall organization. Did I make my point clear?
Sir, actually, I wanted to relate this example to portfolio management because up till now, I have fully understood what you are saying and what is the point here. That it will be considered as a program and they will be having sub-programs and they will be having their projects on sub-projects.
Okay.
This is well understood. Can we relate this? I'm just going one step ahead. Can we relate this example to portfolio and how it will be done?
Okay. Portfolio management is not responsible for the benefit delivery. It is only there to see whether whatever the feasibility the program has provided is that financially feasible for the organization. Does the organization have sufficient funding for that? And should this program be started or not? This is the main concern of the portfolio. Portfolio only deals with the financial matters. It doesn't get involved into the strategy of the programs and projects. So the overall organizational strategy and the financial decisions about the program and project, this is the relation portfolio maintains. Is it okay?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. The point is understood now.
Maybe these things will become even more clearer when we move ahead with it, because there's a lot of stuff we still need to talk about. Right. Then we move on to the program management. Program management is defined as the centralized coordinated management. So in portfolio management, we said it is a centralized management. It is okay. It was centralized management. But why program is a centralized coordinated management? Because all the constituents of the program have to be well coordinated and interrelated. Although program is a centralized thing and it is managing all the projects under it, but they all have to be interrelated and coordinated. Therefore, it is a centralized coordinated management of a program to achieve the program's strategic objectives and benefits. Program has got its own strategy. It is linked with the organizational strategy. You can say that the organizational strategy has been, earmarked to the program, that this is the strategy you are going to be working on, and that strategy might be, increase the education level, and program will decide its own strategic objectives. It will break up that organizational strategy into program strategic objectives and then define what will be the benefits of each objective, and ultimately under those benefits it will create the projects. Projects within a program are related through a common outcome or collective capability. Either they are producing something which is due to the interaction of the projects. Maybe you are producing some outcome or some benefit by unifying the results of more than one project, or it is a collective capability you are creating out of these projects. This is how the program achieves its results. So projects within the program are related through the common outcome and the collective capability. It focuses on project interdependencies. It's very important for a program to orchestrate the project interdependencies. Whenever a project has to interact with another project, program should provide an optimal approach. It should not be the case that a project needs to communicate with another project. It needs to provide something to another project. That project is not aware of it, and there is a communication gap, and thus we are wasting time. So if program is orchestrating the whole game, then the optimal approach should be there. Determine the optimal approach for managing them. So everybody should, there has to be a program level communication management plan. There has to be a program management strategy which will orchestrate all these project interdependencies. Previously in portfolio, we said those are just the categories. If you create sub-portfolios, they could be just categories, and in those categories, the projects or programs are not interrelated. So if you have got a shared client A, you say all of these projects we are doing relate to Nokia. So this is the categorization. This is not a relationship. Or you say this is for the same seller. This is from the same technology. These use the same kind of resource. These are just simple categorizations, and they suit more to the portfolio rather than to the program. These are not interrelationships. You must understand categorizations are not relationships. Are we okay with it? Project interdependencies we talked about. Actions related to project interdependencies may include resolving resource constraints or conflicts that affect the multiple projects within the system. You will be having more than one project running in your program. And again, the same problem which portfolio had, you will have problem because you have got the resource pool for the whole program. And you are now responsible as a program manager to provide appropriate resources to your project. This is not the responsibility of portfolio to provide resources for your project. Portfolio provided you the resources as a program manager, and now the program manager is providing in turn resources to its project from its resource pool, program resource pool. Therefore, you have to resolve all the conflicts of resources. You know, two projects in your program require the same resource at the same time. So you will behave like a portfolio for your program, and you will have prioritization within your program projects. Which project is more important to you to achieve your benefits? Therefore, you will give priority to that project for allocation of those resources. So if there is a resource constraint or a conflict, this is how a program manager is going to resolve that. Then you also have to see, you have to align the organizational and strategic direction that affects the projects and programs goals and objectives. I said you develop a program strategy, but that program strategy is aligned with the organizational strategy. The strategic objectives which have been given to you as a program manager, and based on which you created your strategic objective. Therefore, you must always remain aligned with the organizational strategy. You cannot keep running your own business of your program, that my program can work best if I make my own small little world. That won't work, because your small little world is part of the whole organization. You can't get out of the organization in your own little world. Therefore, all your organizational, all your objectives, all your strategies must be aligned with the organizational objectives and strategies. Then resolving issues and change management within a shared governance structure. As I said, we'll talk about governance a little further, but within this sphere you are managing as a program manager, you must have your own governance structure in place, which would be responsible for resolving all the issues, issue escalation, how the issues within the program are to be resolved and treated with, and how the changes are managed within. This is what we call project interdependencies within a program management. So far, so much. Okay. Okay, if it is okay, we move on to the project. We already know the definition of the project. It's a temporary endeavor undertaken to create a unique product, service, or result. The main thing here is that a project is delivering a deliverable or a product or a service or a result. It does not deliver a benefit. So when you start a project, you have an objective. Projects do have objectives. To meet that objective, you collect the requirements and you finalize those requirements, and according to those requirements, you plan to achieve the creation of that product, service, or result. And ultimately, if you deliver that, your job is done. This is as much as the project is concerned. Project management, as we well understand and remember, this was the application of knowledge, skills, tools, and techniques to those project activities which were required to create the project objective product. So according to the requirements, whatever in-scope activities are to be done, your project management knowledge is to be applied only on those. So this was what we studied about the project management. So now you know the definitions of program management, portfolio management, project management. This is now the time that let us define organizational project management, OPM. OPM encompasses the projects, programs, and portfolios. And each one of these have their own scope, their own change mechanism. The planning is different, management is different, the success criteria is different, their monitoring is different. So let us see what is the difference. Actually, these differences will clarify how unique they are from each other. If you look at it from the scope point of view, what is the scope of the project? Projects have defined objectives. Project has a specific objective to meet, and that is, creation of a deliverable according to certain requirements. So defined objectives. Scope is progressively elaborated over the period of time because of the uncertainty of the project. As we move ahead, the things become clearer and we keep amending our plans, and this happens throughout the project life cycle. So our scope may get amended in the process. So we start with a strategic, with a defined objective, and we develop a scope, and that scope keeps getting improved over the project life cycle, and ultimately we deliver what we are supposed to deliver. In programs, we are not talking about the deliverable. Programs have a larger scope and provide more significant benefits. Programs focus on benefits. The scope of program is to realize the benefits. It has a larger scope. It looks at the things with a wider angle. Portfolios have an organizational level scope, and that scope changes with the strategic objectives of the organization. This is very interesting that portfolio management is tied back to back with the strategic objectives. If the organizational strategy suddenly changes the direction at any point in time, the portfolio immediately gets to work. It starts analyzing that all the projects and programs which were already been done, they were aligned with the old organizational strategy, and because now the strategy has realigned itself, some of those projects and programs may no more be useful. So it gets into the calculation and monitoring of those and re-evaluates each and every project and program, and all those projects which are not in alignment with the new strategy of the organization, they may be terminated, and some new projects and programs could be introduced. So again, I would say portfolio deals with the investment decision making of projects and programs. So this is the difference of scope. You see, the scope gets enlarged from project to program, and then from program to portfolio, and ultimately to the strategy. So this linkage from project to program to portfolio, this whole thing is encompassed as an organizational project management, and anything beyond that is a strategic management. So far so good. Change. What is the difference in change? What is project change? Project managers expect change. Why? Why do they expect change? Projects are uncertain, and we are not sure what is going to happen to us. Therefore, no matter how detailed a project manager plans, still there are risks and there are situations which are going to happen, and things will change. So project managers should expect change and implement processes to keep change managed and controlled. Throughout the life of the project, he keeps managing the change. So a change control mechanism is always in place, and project plan, as we said, even in scope also, progressively elaborates. In programs, program managers also expect change, but now the story is different because program manager is sitting between the strategy and the project. So he may be ordered to change from the strategic side, or he may be issue may be raised from the project side, which is requiring some change. So he expects change from both inside and outside of the program, and are prepared to manage both of these. So this is a kind of a jugglery. It is orchestrating the upward change and the downward change, both inside and outside. As far as the portfolio manager is concerned, he continuously monitors changes in the broader internal and external environment. And that is, if the organizational strategy changes, what are the changes to be brought in? And it also looks towards the internal environment, all the projects and programs happening, how well are they producing the investment results? And if someone is not coming up to the mark, the project or program could be terminated. Similarly, this is one reason, it's an internal reason by which a program or project can be affected by the portfolio. The external reason could be the organization strategy has changed the direction, and therefore there has to be certain changes to be made to the projects and programs. So this is a story of change from project, program and portfolio perspective. Okay, ji? Got it? Planning. As we already know, in planning, project managers do the progressive elaboration, and they start with initially with a high level information, and then they move on to details and further details and on. As they move inside towards the end of the project, throughout the life of the project, more details become available, and we keep planning till end of the project. The program manager develops an overall plan, program plan, and creates high-level plans to guide the detailed planning of the component levels. But the component plans are the project plans within the program are the responsibility of those project managers. So for projects within a program, the strategic level is program. So they will abide by the program strategy, whereas the projects will develop their own progressive elaboration thing as defined in project management. But the program manager is responsible for creating an outline plan for realizing the benefits through those projects. This is what he creates and orchestrates. He has his own schedule. He has his own roadmap, and he tells that to all the project managers as a constraint that this is what you have to do. You have to deliver this thing to that person, and this is the timeline for you. and so on and so forth. But the detailed planning within each project would be the responsibility of that project. Okay. Portfolio managers create and maintain necessary processes and communication relative to the aggregate portfolio. Portfolio is not concerned about the planning of the programs or the projects. It just have to make the investment decision making. It has to do prioritization. It has to distribute the resources, do the feasibilities. So it will plan for that naturally. So he will create and maintain these necessary processes, and wherever the communication is required to be done with the with the aggregate portfolio, so it will only plan that much. Management, project manager manages project team to meet the project objectives, whereas program manager manages the program staff and the project manager. It does not manage the project teams. Program manager deals with his own staff because he does have his own staff which is doing the other work of the program. In addition to the projects, there is some other work. That other work is being done by the program staff. Program manager is responsible for them and also for the project manager. So this is the management he is concerned about. But the project teams are managed by the project managers. So the program manager just provides them the vision and overall leadership, and he makes himself available for them to be consulted. He does not micromanage. He does not interfere into the business of projects. He just have a high level, eye on everyone, but it does not try to manage the projects by themselves. Anyone who does that, which is very normal in our project management and program management, that the program manager is the person normally doing the projects. He is involved in every aspect of the project, which is absolutely wrong. Portfolio managers may manage or coordinate the portfolio management stuff. Naturally, they have got their own stuff and their own work, so they manage that. Or program and project staff that may have reporting responsibilities into the aggregate portfolio. So any staff from programs or portfolio which have anything to deal with portfolio manager, they would be responsible for that much space. Like you see, there are many resources which are shared in projects and programs. Portfolio manager will be dealing with the critical resource distribution. So if they are human resources, then those may be reporting. A person is allocated to a project for 4 hours a day, and for the remaining 4 hours he has to be working on a program. See, this is a resource which is not dedicated for any project or program. So such a resource will be managed by the portfolio. So portfolio manager will manage his own staff and these kind of staff for the projects and programs. Success. Success for the project is measured by the product and the project quality, timelines, budget, compliance, and the degree of customer satisfaction. This is how the success of a project is measured. If you have delivered your product is of quality, you have done it in time, within the budget, and customer is satisfied. This is how the success for the project is defined. How does the success of program is defined? Success is measured by degree to which the program satisfies the needs and benefits for which it was undertaken. So here, benefit realization is the main thing. If you have realized your benefits, then you have done your job. Portfolios, success is measured in terms of aggregate investment performance and benefit realization of the overall portfolio. Somebody asked me about the benefit realization at portfolio level. Yes, it is cumulative benefit in terms of cost or in terms of investment. Aggregate investment performance. Are we doing well for all projects and programs? Our money is being spent judiciously? This is what the portfolio deals with. Naturally, that is a benefit, and naturally that is aligned with the organizational strategy. So portfolio success is measured by that. As far as monitoring is concerned, project manager monitors and controls the work of producing the product, service and result. I said in earlier question that the monitoring and control of projects is not the responsibility of portfolio, and portfolio must not worry about that. Portfolio has its own level of monitoring, its own control, a very high level, which is governed through some investment KPIs. Similarly, a program can also have some controls over project, and that could be through some benefit realization KPIs. But the most detailed level of monitoring and control is held by the project manager, and he is the one who is looking at each and every aspect of the work of the project and the delivery of the product, service, or result. As far as the program manager is concerned, he monitors the progress of the program component, all the program components overall, to ensure overall goals, schedule, budget, but these are high level, and benefits of the program will be met. So he has to be sure throughout the life of the program that we are doing well. If something is not going right, those KPIs he has set should be able to tell him that the things are not going right, then he should make certain amendments to his project. Maybe it is very much possible that program manager decides to kill a project which is being harmful for the program, and he may create a new project within his program, because program manager has full authority over his projects. He can do anything with them. He doesn't have to seek permission from the portfolio for that. Portfolio manager monitors strategic changes and aggregate resource allocation, performance results, and risks of the portfolio. At the level of portfolio, what are the risks? Is there a risk that our investment will go waste? So investment level decision making and risks and situations, resources, etc. related to the portfolio. This is to be monitored at the portfolio level. I hope this made some sense, and this served to distinguish projects, programs, and portfolios in overall scenario of organizational project management. Ji, any questions?
Sir, individually, these things are understandable, like projects, programs, and portfolios. Some things are kind of overlappingly confusing. For example, between portfolios and programs, uh, because programs are looking for the benefit, so shouldn't the program be superior than the portfolio? Because, for example, the program will define that we are going to achieve this benefit, and then portfolio will see that, like financially, if you know all those programs which will come under that proposed program are going to be fine. So
Okay. You must note one thing. All the projects and programs have to have their own feasibility. Programs are responsible for their own business case. Projects are responsible for their own business case. Portfolio is a higher body which views their business cases and accepts or rejects them from a strategic perspective. There might be a business case created to start a project, but portfolio may reject it. Maybe that project is very justified to be done, but from the investment point of view, that is not feasible, so portfolio may reject it. So portfolio is not creating the business cases by itself, but the suggestions are coming from the organization, for the projects and programs, and there are business analysts sitting down there. I don't want to talk about the business analysis and other things because that is part of the operation. But yes, there are people sitting who are working on what new projects and programs could be started. So they are creating the business cases. At that point in time, there is no project or program existing as such. But then when the business cases are forwarded to the portfolio manager, then the decision is of the portfolio manager which of the projects and programs, whether even if they are feasible, should be started or not.
Okay, sir. Got it. Got it. Thank you, sir.
Okay. Anyone else? Okay. Now, on a lighter tone, what are the strategic considerations? I said, if the organizational strategy changes, why does organizational strategy changes? Why should it? So, any ideas how and when an organization changes its strategy? Ji, anyone? When there is a change in strategy, projects serve as a means of bringing that change. So I would very much like to call projects as change agents. They bring that change. They realize that change. So strategic changes in organization, the strategic direction of the organization does change sometimes. Because as I gave you the example of a factory, that you created a state-of-the-art factory and everything was fantastic, but you can't live forever running that factory according to that SOP. You have to improve, you have to enhance, you have to abide by the customer requirement, you have to abide by the environments, market conditions, a lot many things. So those things will force you to change your system. Your strategic considerations are there which will make you change your organizational direction. And if your organizational direction is to change, your operations has to change. But your operations have SOP and they cannot change by itself. Therefore, we need some mechanism to test, research that change. And if we find it suitable, then we will adopt it in our operations. And the means for testing a thing or ensuring that this can be done is projects. I mean, when I say projects, that is organizational project management. It could be programs, it could be projects, the whole business of projects. So projects are often utilized as a means of achieving an organization's strategic plan, and projects are typically authorized as a result of one or more of the following strategic considerations. What are those? There is a different market demand now. Previously, we were making the biscuits in a different packing, but now the market requires a different kind of packing. There is a new trend in the market. So if I keep producing biscuits in the old packaging, that will not be acceptable in the market. So I have to change. I have to bring change in my system. There is a strategic opportunity or a business need. We did start our discussion with the business need and business case. So if there is a business need, we will have to, change something. There is a social need. Maybe, there is a problem of terrorism in the country. And there is a social need for every citizen to be careful. So the organizations, although security up to some level is built into every organization strategy, but now security becomes prime. So they have to, provide safety to their workers and whatever. So those things have to be changed. In your organization strategy would be more towards security and safety. So this is a social need. Environmental conditions, maybe the weathers are changing and the kind of product you were creating earlier, it is no more useful. Customer requests a specific item. Technological advancement, new automation, new mechanisms, new things are coming every day and our methods may have been obsolete. Therefore, we have to adopt the new technology. Or there are legal requirements. Government have mandated that you have to do certain things. Like, there was an earthquake in Pakistan and government has mandated that in Islamabad, all the construction must be earthquake proof. They have laid down the rule. So this is a legal requirement. Whether a contractor or a constructor wants to do it or not, he has to do it. So these are some of the examples of strategic considerations which ultimately yield up to the projects. Are we okay with it? Do you understand that? Any discussion? Okay. Now is the interesting topic. everybody have heard about it, everybody have talked about it, everybody might have worked in a PMO. But what is a PMO? Project Management Office. Remember, this is just a management structure that standardizes the project-related governance processes and facilitates the sharing of resources, methodologies, tools, and techniques. Now, this is very interesting. You have projects, you have programs, you have portfolios, you have the OPM. Why do you need this PMO? What is the fun of having a PMO? For every project, we have a project manager and a project sponsor or a project director. For every program, we have a program manager, program sponsor or a program director. For portfolio, we have got a similar kind of structure, directly answerable to the strategy or the executive directors. Then why do you need to have PMOs? Can't you live without them? Yes, please. जी Who's it? क्या कहना चाह रहे हैं जरा ऊंचा बोलिएगा. Okay. Somebody wanted to say something, you did not say anything. Right. Okay, let me move on. So let me explain this one more time. Within an organization, there has, if your organization have realized that project management is an important discipline and it has to be done, then this is the first realization that we need to have project management. Now, number two is, do we realize that we need to have organizational project management? Now, this is interesting that the realization of project management is the one level, and realization of organizational project management means that we do realize and understand that we may need to have programs, we may need to have portfolio and all of this whole structure. So this comes with the realization. But at whatever level your organization is, they want to exercise some kind of assurance and control. Whatever is happening okay. So at different levels, there might be different bosses who needs to be assured that everything in projects are going fine. So they may develop a kind of a support mechanism in which the data is collected, analyzed, and reported to them, whether the projects under them are working fine or not. And through this mechanism, they may send out their orders, their instructions, and this could be a way of passing on the information and passing on the commands. Information coming from down to up and commands going from top to down. So for that, we may need to have a organizational structure defined which had certain responsibilities. What could be those responsibilities? It could facilitate the sharing of resources. Although we said it is the responsibility of portfolio to, for the sharing of resources, if the resources are required across projects and programs, then probably PMO portfolio will be dealing with them. But there are two different scenarios. Number one, you don't have a portfolio, you don't have understanding of a portfolio. In that case, who is dealing with the sharing of resources? So maybe a central body is required. Or even if you have portfolios, portfolio may be dealing with high level, strategic level resources. What about the small little resources? Like, the tools to be distributed in different projects. The number of hammers going into one project and into another project, when who is going to take care of these small little resources? Maybe the strategic resources are dealt with the portfolio. The small little resources probably cannot be dealt by the projects and programs themselves, because the projects and programs are getting the resources from organizational pool. In that case, those resources have to be managed at organizational level. or whatever the departmental level. So a PMO type office is required for that. Consistency of the methodologies, methods, tools, techniques, that all the projects and programs across the organization should be using the same method consistently, same tools, same techniques for project management. Then probably again somebody has to exist which should ensure that. So an organizational body or entity assigned various responsibilities related to centralized and coordinated management. Although we do understand that the projects and programs the PMO may be looking after may not be related, but still this is a centralized mechanism, and still this is responsible for intercoordination amongst the projects and programs. Therefore, it is a centralized and coordinated management. In program management, we said centralized coordinated management. There is a difference between the two. Centralized and coordinated management means something else, and centralized coordinated management means something else. In program, that was the coordination of the same centralization. Here, the centralized, all the projects and programs are being looked after by the PMO, and if there are any needs of coordination and communication amongst the projects, whether they are related or not, that is to be handled by the PMO, and that is specifically talking about the sharing of resources across the projects. Now, PMO could exist at any level. It is not necessary that it should be only existing at the top level of the organization. A PMO could exist at a departmental level. It could exist at the central level. It could exist anywhere in the organization. So that means if everyone, every operational, functional manager has a number of projects and programs running under him, he may have his own PMO set up. There is no problem in that. But at least an organization must have at least one PMO for the whole organization if there are no other PMOs. If there are no PMOs, there will not be any consistency across the organization of how to run the projects and programs. So PMO will give that control, give that consistency, mechanism, methodologies. So all those things would come from the PMO, and PMO will also be able to keep a watch on all the projects and programs under its control, and at the same time it can also report to the requisite boss, whomsoever it is reporting. So if there is only one PMO in the organization, then probably it is reporting to the CEO, and it is providing a governance structure for all the projects and programs within the organization. If there is a PMO for a department, then that might be reporting to the department head, and that might be dealing with only those projects and programs run under that department. It is also possible that there is a very huge project, a mega project, and the management of that project is so difficult that project manager cannot handle it all by himself. He may set up a PMO within the project only for the purposes of managing the project, which will deal with all the team leads and all that small little sub-projects, whatever is happening within the project. So this could also be a PMO, but this PMO would then only be responsible for everything within the project, not outside of the project. So you see, number one thing we have learned is that PMOs could exist anywhere. Every PMO can have its own domain. There can be more than one PMOs in an organization. There could be levels of PMOs. There could be different structures of PMOs. PMOs can have a single methodology, a single governance structure, or every PMO can have its own governance structure. We will talk about the governance structure later, but we generally understand that this is what the PMO is. Responsibility of a PMO can be varying. It could be just a support function, a clerical function, providing support and help to the underlying domain, or it could have direct management of the project, full control of the project. He could even interfere into the projects. This all depends upon whoever is creating this PMO and how much authority that person is giving to the PM. PMO integrates data and information from corporate strategic projects and evaluates how higher level strategic objectives are being fulfilled. So this could be a link between the strategy and what is happening in the projects. It can collect the data, progress reports and everything from the projects and evaluate them and see if the strategic objectives are being met or not. Or even it can forecast that the strategic objective will be met or not. So PMO could perform that job. But you see, PMO is not looking after just one project. This could be looking after more than one project in its domain. And by domain, I mean it could be organization, it could be department, it could be program, it could be project, it could be anything. But it will strictly work within its domain. A PMO of finance department cannot control projects of purchase department. So finance department PMO is responsible for all the project and programs of the finance department only. PMO becomes a natural liaison between the organization's portfolio programs and projects and the corporate measurement system. So this is a support function. Whatever we have studied about portfolios, programs, projects, if everything is existing, even then PMOs can exist, and PMO can make the life easier of the whole organizational project management by providing support wherever required. Projects supported and administered by the PMO may not be related, just like in the case of PMO of a portfolio. In portfolio, all the projects and programs of the whole organization were not all related. They could have the same categories, but they were not essentially related. Similarly, PMO could be dealing with projects and programs under whatever domain we are talking about, but they may not be related. PMO can be delegated a lot of authority and power by whomsoever is the boss of that PMO, or it could just be a support function, a clerical function. Just collect data and present report to me. You don't have any powers. This could be a PMO. Or you can give full control to the PMO. You can say, okay, you can run the project by yourself. You can terminate the project by yourself. This is the powers which could be given to the PMO. It is a delegated authority. To act as an integral stakeholder or a key decision maker during the beginning of each project, to make recommendations and to terminate projects or take other actions as required to keep business objectives consistent. So do not be confused. I do not want to recommend that PMO should be given that much of power. But I'm just showing that it can be given that much of power. I would recommend that if you start a new PMO, start with a minimal authority, rather no authority at all. Start with a clerical office. Start with a support office, just to facilitate. And when you have a mature organization, only then you can have these kind of delegated authorities. PMO may be involved in selection, management, and development and deployment of shared and dedicated project resources. We just talked about it, that the resources which are to be shared amongst various projects and programs within the domain of the PMO, PMO would take care of the selection, management, and deployment of those resources across all the projects and programs under its domain. According to PMBOK, PMOs are defined to be of 3 different types. In other books, there may be other definitions, but almost they are saying the same thing. Some of the books may say there are 4 categories, some say there are 5 categories, but these 3 types probably gives you the whole picture. Supportive PMO, controlling PMO, and directive PMO. And essentially, supportive PMO is a clerical level, only servant leadership kind of thing, where it just provides the support. It doesn't command and control. In controlling PMO, it has some degree of control exercise. In a directive PMO, that takes on the full control of all the projects and programs. Let's see the definitions of each. Supporting PMO provides a consultative role to project by supplying templates, best practices, training, all the facilitation functions, access to information, providing lessons learned to the projects. This type of PMO serves as a project repository. Degree of control provided is low. It doesn't want to exercise any kind of control. It simply wants to facilitate all the projects, providing them with essentials. So this is a supportive PMO. In a controlling PMO, it provides support and also requires compliance with certain, through various means. And if you want to get the compliance, you must give some rules. So therefore, this PMO, controlling PMO, will create the mechanism how the project should be run and then make it obligatory for our projects under it to comply with it. So this is a controlling PMO which makes the rules and ensures they are followed. Compliance may involve adopting project management frameworks or methodologies using specific templates, forms, tools, or conformance to governance. If there is a governance mechanism that can ensure, this controlling PMO will ensure that that governance mechanism is being followed. Degree of control provided by this PMO is moderate level. Directive PMOs, they take full control of the project by directly managing the project. This micromanages the project. This may, become the project manager itself. This can start running the project by itself. The degree of control is very high. But I would strongly not recommend this because this is intrusive and we don't want this kind of PMO until and unless we are mature enough. In an immature organization, if you create a directive PMO, then that is havoc. People who are trying to interfere in your job doesn't know their job themselves. So we don't want that to happen. So if you are starting with PMOs, start with a supportive PMO. Then after some time, you may promote it to the controlling PMO. Then after some time, when you are mature enough, you could even go for directive PMO. But again and again, I say that directive PMO is not really something which you should be using. Primary functions of a PMO: it manages the shared resources. It identifies and develops the project management methodologies, best practices and standards. It provides the coaching, mentoring, training and oversight. It monitors the compliance of the project management standards, policies, procedures, templates, etc. Develops and manages those policies and procedures and templates, etc. And it coordinates the communication across the project. These are the primary functions of a PM. So, as I said, in a directive PMO, you give whole control to the PMO, which is normally happening in organizations which are not mature and they are having directive PMO. So they are not doing their job. As you have seen, a PMO must have to be initially have to be supportive, then have to be controlling, and then ultimately have to be directive. If you are not supporting, how are you controlling or directing people? This is not possible. You have not given them any template. You have not created any rule. You have not enforced any governance structure, and you are trying to interfere in the business of the projects by yourself. That is harmful. So all of these functions are to be done by that. Project manager and PMO both have different responsibilities. Project and PMO pursue different objectives and are driven by different requirements. All of these efforts are aligned with the strategic needs of the organization, whether it is PMO a project manager, naturally they are existing within the organization. They are both fulfilling the requirements of the organization. But project manager is looking after our project and PMO is looking after a number of projects from a different perspective. It should generally not micromanage the project manager. Project managers focus on the specific project objectives, whereas PMO manages the major program scope, which may be seen as potential opportunity to better achieve business objectives. Now PMO, when it is doing this kind of job, it can support the program or portfolio because it is sitting at such a place which is having an eye on all the projects and programs under it. Therefore, it can provide useful data for program management or portfolio management. Project managers control the assigned project resources, the dedicated resources which have been assigned to the project manager. But those resources which are not dedicatedly assigned to the project manager and they are on part-time basis, they must be managed by the PM. Project manager manages the constraints of his project only, whereas PMO manages the methodologies, the standards, overall risks, metrics, and things like that. So naturally, this is just a comparison given, but you understand that PMO is different than project, and project manager's role and PMO manager's role are going to be very different. Right. So far, so good. We have completed the relationships, and next topic would be the relationship in the project management, operation management, and organizational strategy, which I intend doing in the next class. So if you have any questions for the matter we have discussed today, you are most welcome. Yes, please. Anyone?
I guess it's good, sir.
Okay. Anyone else? I think today we missed Rijo. Rijo is not here today. Right. Okay. Rizwan and Sarfraz, how do you feel? Is it going fine? Ramzan? And Sarfraz?
Yeah, it's good, sir.
Okay. Okay. For you two, do you want to continue coming to these classes or you want to join the next course or whatever? You can, you can join tomorrow as well and let me know your decision. If at all you are continuing with this course, then you have to pay. So you can coordinate with me on email and we can talk about it. But you have just one more class which I'll provide you free of cost. And this is my email. You can note it down. Where is that? This is my email, right? So see you guys tomorrow. I hope everything is fine and we are fine with everything.
Not tomorrow, sir.
Okay.
On Monday, I guess.
Yeah, of course, not tomorrow, on Monday. On Monday we are meeting again. Thank you very much. Take care, gentlemen.
Thank you, sir. Assalamu alaikum. Good night.